The LA Haunted Hayride was a fun event. There was some ups, there was some downs, but we're gonna talk about that in this video. But what is up, guys? Welcome to Villains of Horror, where we do everything from horror movies to real life haunted attractions. So if you like horror, check out the channel, subscribe. You're gonna have a great time here. But yeah, we're jumping right into the video. The LA Haunted Hayride. This past year was our first time going. We actually had a friend in town and we were like, hey, let's go. We do a ton of horror, like haunted attractions and stuff like that. So once again, if you like this type of content, check out the channel. We've done a lot of videos about this before in the past. We're going to be continuously doing this type of stuff, but we wanted to check it out. I've heard about it from other people and I wanted to experience it, for myself and just see like what it was all about. I haven't been on like a haunted hayride in like years, and we wanted to see how it was. So getting there, it's kind of like, at least for us, I mean, it took us a second to kind of figure out where exactly it was. It's like near the Griffin like observatory. You have to go up like in like Griffin Park. The parking situation was just like, all right, where do we go? But once you figure that all out, once you go in, there was people working there. They kind of like guide you, be like, okay, cool, go here, go right there. Here's the parking lot. So we pre-bought our parking and they led us into like the parking area. So that was fine. And we were able to take a shuttle into the actual like part where the haunted hayride was at. So once you get all of that and you get into like the actual area where everything is, I thought it was really cool. So overall, the production value for this is definitely like lower than anything like super big. So like don't expect there to be like giant flame throwing things going everywhere. You are outside in like a public area that's like outside, so don't expect anything like that. So it's not going to be like on the level of like a Horror Nights or anything. I would say it's still like more production value than something like really small. So I would say overall, like think of this as like in between maybe like San Diego SeaWorld, which at least last time we were there, like their production value, not to bash them, there's just the production value of everything was like a little bit more like starting out, like trying to figure things out. So it was like a little bit lower. I would say it's something quite similar to that, but I like the way that they did everything there. I think they're probably just limited by like where they're doing it and like just the fact that it is literally all of it is outside. So there were some limiting factors to that, but I don't know. I think it was still like a really fun event. They had it set up nice and like I had a really great time. So there's like multiple things that you can do there. There is a escape room. There's like a show. There's like some attractions that you can do with some haunted houses. I thought it was like really cool. My favorite haunted house there was actually the Monet Manor, and I was actually shocked. It was like Janelle Monáe. It was like her haunted maze that was there. I didn't even like put that together until we were in the maze and I realized like they were playing her music. So I thought that was like really cool. I really like when artists has mazes and they kind of like dive into like the horror element, like The Weeknd for like Horror Nights, and like all of his stuff is like really like, kind of adjacent to that. So I really like the fact that Janelle Monáe did the same thing. This was like really cool. Overall, I thought that was like a really cool maze. The scare actors there, I think they did like a good job just overall for the entire park. I think they were on point, even though it was kind of more, you can see them, like they weren't just like popping out like completely scaring you because we were outside, especially for like the mazes too. They did like have construction, so you still were like walking through like a construction type of like setup, but you can kind of still see where people were at. But I think overall though, the scare actors did a really good job inside all of the mazes. Actually, it was pretty funny. In one of the mazes, like there was a scare actor that was handing out candy. Haven't seen that before, so that was pretty cool. As far as like the mazes go, I think they were fun. Do I think it was the most scariest thing in the world? No, but it was like a fun time. And like honestly, what more can you really ask for when you're like going to a haunted attraction? Sometimes you just want to have fun and you just want to just enjoy yourself. And I really think like the LA Haunted Hayride, like they know what they're doing with that and they did that very well. So even like when it came down to the Haunted Hayride itself, I thought that was pretty cool. So they do have you setting up in different like staging sections. I think by like the ticket that you can get like the VIP and like the express. So similar how they're even at like other places, but like it kind of reminded me of at like the Queen Mary, how there's like a whole different line and it's all like set up and everything. So but that is kind of like the standard. But once we got on the actual Haunted Hayride itself, I thought it was cool. I haven't done one in such a long time. It was fun. They brought you from section to section. Is it the most scariest thing? No, because they're literally driving you on a cart and you're going to a section. You can see the people, they're kind of there. They're like, it's like a stage setup. They come out, they pop out. So I think honestly, if you want to take someone to a event that hasn't gone to a lot of other events and like they're really scared, I think this actually would be a good place to like take them to, because the crowd levels weren't super crazy. It did take a minute to get there and like figure out where to go, but once you did all that, it really wasn't bad at all. Getting to the place, I thought it was fine. And like once we were there, we were able to do everything and it wasn't super crowded. I think it was like a really good like setup, like of just like a fun time. So if you're looking for something that like you can bring someone to that's not used to going to horror events, I think this was a good probably like stepping stone for them. But the actual like Haunted Hayride itself, yeah, I thought it was cool overall. There's people popping out. I think people had like giant beach balls at one point in time, which I was like, this is kind of wild. There was some aliens that were there. They were waving at us, you know, so it was like it was a nice, cool like party vibe. It wasn't super serious, but I do think it was like overall it was really fun. So I really had a really good time with that. I do also remember like there was like an actual stage show itself. I think it was like 30 minutes long. We didn't watch the whole thing. I think we watched probably like 10-15 minutes of it. It was pretty cool. So that's like another thing that you can do. I did like that they had stuff like that, and they even had like food trucks set up as well. So if you want to get some food, I know we did. That was cool. I do appreciate when a place, there is a area where you can get food and sit down and you can find seating. Like that's like nice for me, especially now that I'm getting older. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I just want to be able to like get food and sit. So that's a good plus, because I know in like other places like horror nights and stuff like that, where there's just so many people, especially like later on in the season when it's just packed, sometimes you can't even like find a place to like sit. You just have to be like, I guess I'm standing here eating. So I do appreciate when there's like an area where there's like, oh, people can sit, there's enough seating, you don't have to worry about like, can I find one seat, is there anywhere we can go? Like, so that is one thing I do appreciate. So once again, if you're looking for something that's like maybe a little bit more low-key but still like spooky, this seems like a really good option for you. And then they even had like axe throwing, which we didn't do, but they did have escape room that we did. That was cool. I believe we had to pay extra for that. It wasn't like super expensive, but it was like an extra little bonus. I believe it was like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. It was like 5 or 10 minutes. It was a real quick one. It was cool. I think it was like set up nicely. They put you in like a little room. You have to figure things out. It's an escape room. I thought it was cool. I did enjoy that as well. I think that was just like another like cool event that we were able to do and like just have some fun with that. And then when it comes down to the atmosphere and theming, I think they did a really good job with what they could do. Once again, it is outside. It's not really like an area where they can just like go crazy, but I do think they did fairly well with what they could do. They did have a lot of statues, a lot of props just out and about. So I thought that was done nicely. That there was still like lights shining and everything like that. So it was cool. We were able to take some photos with some pumpkins and stuff like that. So that was really cool. So I think overall the theming was done well. I just think like one of the big downsides, just because it was like outside, there's only so much that they can do, but I do think it was like done well. I enjoyed it. I really thought it was like done, you know, fairly well. Now when it comes down to will I do it again, I'm gonna be honest with you, probably, but like it's not like one of my like must do things, just because I feel like at this point in time I like doing stuff a little bit more scarier and a little bit more intense, I would say. I think this was still like fun. We wanted to try it out, so I would probably do it if like other people want to do it. Like, yeah, we can do it. Just like now, like there's so many other places that like I'm like, okay, cool, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So I want to make sure I have time to do all these other events. This is like one of those events. It's just like, if we have time to do it, I would love to do it, but it's probably not on like my personal like must do list. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I want to know though, what do you guys think? Have you gone to the LA Haunted Hayride? What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Would you recommend it to other people? Let me know in the comment section below. But if you love anything horror, from horror movies to horror themed attractions, check out the channel. We have a lot of fun here. But speaking of horror themed attractions, I just did a video on a Six Flags Fright Fest, which was also our very first time going to that event this past year. Check this video out right here. That was a fun, crazy time. A lot of interesting things that happened in that video. So check that out. I'll see you guys over there. See ya.